Ain't no way this guy just used AI and NFTs as an example. This is the top comment on my last video, and while I'd love to sit here and gush about how thankful I am for all of the support on my content lately, I'd be wasting precious time. Precious time we need to spend learning about artificial intelligence.
Marty is on the loose.
AI can help deal with some very difficult challenges like disease and climate change. We also have to address the potential risks to our society, to our economy, to our national security.
Not everyone is ready for innovation.
Also, I think it's an incredible example of how AI can be a tool used for good. Like, there's nothing malicious here, there's nothing nefarious, it is simply just creating parody, silly, fun stuff.
Oh my god! Very beautiful, beautiful. Wow, wow!
In my previous video, I said that AI is one of a long string of amazing inventions we humans have created to help us do more things and communicate with more people. And apparently a lot of you guys didn't like that, or rather you don't like AI at all. Another commenter calls the image generation sloppy, the results unreliable, and the entire thing overhyped by uneducated people. And honestly, those are all valid complaints. But whether you're madly in love with the thing, cynically sick of it, or absolutely terrified, I'm here to recontextualize your perception of artificial intelligence from the ground up. And to keep things fun, we're going to outline how it's transforming the very platform we're using right now. That's right, every day AI is implementing itself into YouTube more and more, and trust me when I say this is a lot bigger than you'd expect. Not just the large language and image models, but the entire idea of a platform where anyone can make their voice heard. Banks are using AI to analyze stocks and automatically trade them, Apple is implementing a new Siri model later this year, and companies like Chegg are losing 95% of their stock due to just how great of a teacher AI is proving itself to be. Even Teslas have started using real traffic footage to train their self-driving systems. Pretty cool stuff, until they see what's on my Instagram Explore page. And as I just alluded to, YouTubers big and small are not only taking advantage of what AI is offering on its own, but they're experimenting with hordes of apps, programs, and websites that are coming up with new ways of using it too. YouTube Studio being a prime example, but we'll come back to that. A very long time ago, like 100,000 years ago, we began painting images and symbols inside of caves, not just to leave our mark on the world, but to get our extremely complex thoughts and emotions out into the physical world. We created numbers to keep track of our resources and how many people were using them, and soon we developed the icons and letters that make up written language. Over time, scrolls, books, and libraries became crucial in the preservation of knowledge, and soon more people became literate and had access to up-to-date information about science, culture, history, and technology. Ancient Greek and Egyptian knowledge was compiled in the Great Library of Alexandria, which is why Julius Caesar's decision to burn it down was so detrimental to the human race. Imagine if the internet just disappeared today. How long would it take us to recover? What knowledge would be lost, and what would be considered forbidden or ancient according to our ancestors? Would they understand things like Skibbity Toilet and Pepe, or would they think that we worship them like some kind of god? And speaking of religion, ancient people knew what was best for our personal happiness and the success of a society, distilling their moral values into various texts like the Bible, the Vedas, and the Torah. And the very existence of these moral codes is proof that our ancestors really did want the best for us. Fast forward to the 1900s and the world is accelerating at an unprecedented rate. The population is growing like crazy, energy consumption is through the roof, and incredible new technologies are now present in everyday life. Cars, radios, TVs, calculators, cell phones, GPSs, and satellites, all powered by complex computers that can record, process, and act on data. Then the internet happened, which not only revived the Library of Alexandria, but slowly put the sum of human knowledge in every school, every business, home, and even in our own pockets. Blogs, forums, and social media allowed for quick and easy dissemination of knowledge, and while this increased the amount of misinformation and even disinformation in our daily lives, we're more aware of it than ever. The term media literacy seems to be unavoidable these days, but despite all of the changes, humanity has remained largely the same. We still have the same vices, we still get lonely, there's still a gap between the rich and poor, and there's still a stark difference between the city boys and the country girls. And when you boil it down, most of these revolutionary inventions are just the next step in gathering, analyzing, and disseminating data. Which brings us back to YouTube and AI. YouTube started as a simple video sharing site, but quickly became the second largest search engine. That's right, YouTube is the #2 search engine right behind Google, which owns YouTube. Yeah, whatever. If you're watching this video, you're probably between the ages of 13 and 44, and you primarily use YouTube for entertainment. But that's not where the platform gets the bulk of its viewership from. YouTube is almost like a city. There are a ton of people who live here and contribute to the culture, but the majority of traffic comes from tourists and commuters. In YouTube's case, these are the people who look up Bozeman videos to help them in biology class, or tutorials on how to replace your car's brake pads. These are your bosses, your teachers, your parents, and even your grandparents. And now that YouTube is implementing more elements of classic network television, like the New Year's Countdown, the Super Bowl, and free movies, its user base is exploding. YouTube comes with every smart TV these days, and some creators have actually been successful in converting traditional cable viewers into YouTube viewers. Now is the time to start a YouTube channel, not just because of the influx of users, but because the competition and quality standards are rising more than ever. But don't be intimidated, there are a lot of extremely successful people who are willing to share their tactics, and you'd be a fool to ignore them. But being on top of the world can make it difficult to see what's growing beneath you, and when something as powerful as AI comes along, the titans of YouTube might not even realize how level the playing field has become. Before we go any further, I think it's important to recognize that AI isn't just one thing, it's an umbrella that covers and represents a new era of computer technology. We need to view AI tools in a broader context and not hold them to the same standards as the industry leaders. Sure, ChatGPT can do your English homework, but new technology has always given us novel ways to cheat in school. Something like Photoshop, for example, isn't going to be as good at creating images from scratch as something like Microsoft Copilot, and Copilot can't do the kinds of content-aware tweaks that Photoshop has specialized in since the year 2000. Like iron and bronze, the discovery was only the first step, and now it's a race to figure out just what you can do with it. I think we have to address the elephant in the room, Jimmy Donaldson, or as he is more famously known, Mr. Beast! While the Beast brand has grown to international acclaim, Jimmy is far from the first person to merge the traditional idea of a YouTuber with established production, marketing, and business media tactics. As a matter of fact, many successful YouTube channels are directly tied in with external media companies, whether it's a famous music artist like Beyonce, who currently has 27 million subscribers, or creators like Smosh and Good Mythical Morning, who began making content after spending some time in professional media production in the 2000s. For decades, you had to work your way through the industry if you wanted any sort of profit from any sort of creative work. This not only applied to entertainment media, but the publishing industry and even journalism. But in the 2000s, the internet started to give a platform to everyone, regardless of their status, and AI is only pushing this further. I just started a full-time job since, I graduated college and I gotta pay the bills, and I've already gotten an entirely new context on the potential of AI assistance. By simply answering my questions and summarizing web pages, Microsoft Copilot has improved my workflow immensely. And even without the use of AI, Outlook's calendar function is awesome for planning appointments and meetings. It's almost like an accountability manager. I mean, imagine if Jarvis could tell you to put down the cigarette or book your doctor's appointments. And now that I think about it, AI could replace managers entirely. Instead of a casting agent, a publisher, or a financial advisor, well, you could work independently and have a machine take care of the paperwork, even your taxes. Mr. Beast is a perfect example of the power of an independent creator. He started making videos when he was 13, and over the years has taken various educated risks with his content, expanding his brand identity farther than anyone could have ever expected, and he continues to grow at an unprecedented rate. The next Mr. Beast will probably follow a similar path, and they'd be a fool to ignore just how quickly they can advance with the power of these emerging AI tools. If you're on this platform, especially if you're making videos, you need to watch his interviews with people like Colin and Samir. Not only is it good practice to listen to or have conversations with people who are wiser and more successful than you, but Jimmy proves himself to be a really genuine guy. And by being honest and down to earth, you get a ton of respect and contribute to a network of positive vibes. This is how PewDiePie was able to keep himself from being canceled, because he's just a genuine, honest, and down-to-earth guy, compared to all the other YouTube apologies, which are just fake.
Colleen, you don't have to apologize. You can vaguely take accountability, and that should be more than fine.
This is all part of a larger conversation about how we as a society need to treat each other a little better, but it's also an example of the inherent value in humanity, as opposed to the value of something created by a computer. This is yet another fundamental that Mr. Beast clearly shows that he's aware of. For years, Jimmy has been translating his content for non-English speakers, which is a great idea, especially considering how many frauds could make money using his likeness, either in reposts or blatant ripoffs. But recently, Mithilesh Padankar, an Indian YouTuber, has been dubbing Mr. Beast's videos in Hindi. Mithilesh, also known as MythPat online, is extremely popular with younger viewers because of his style, his humor, and his gaming content. Many YouTube viewers, as a matter of fact, are young children, which represent a cornerstone of the Beast brand, which is often easily recognizable by children looking out the sides of vehicles and grocery store carts. The reason I bring this up is because, again, there is inherent value in people. Jimmy could have all of his videos dubbed by AI voices, but he would be taking some level of humanity away from his foreign language viewers. Even more importantly, he would be settling for an easier option, something that is a cardinal sin by his philosophy, and something that works counter to the unique originality that has always been required for success on the YouTube platform. The scary thing is that now, more than ever, people understand this, and with new AI tools on their side, the competition is going to become a larger and larger issue for rising creators. And on the other side of the spectrum, we have large, established creators who are attempting to cut costs by investing in AI. One creator in particular, Kwebbelkop, was in the public eye after claiming that he would automate his content using AI text, video, and a variety of programs. Many were skeptical, but Kwebbelkop's audience is on the younger side, so they would be less likely to care if there was AI used in a video. Needless to say, his brand, including his channel and his public image, quickly lost a significant amount of value, and despite his channel description noting the use of AI in some of his videos today, he seems to have abandoned the idea to save his reputation and fallen back on creating quality content. But creating a digital version of yourself is actually a great idea, and could even be necessary as we move forward. During my time in college, I took a class on media law and a class focused on artificial intelligence. I actually turned in an early version of this video as my final. What I found out is that AI and copyright laws are extremely similar, and they both raise questions about the origin and ownership of content and spark discussions about what is considered transformative and parody. One of the biggest controversies surrounding AI in recent times has been the Taylor Swift incident, where some of her haters created deepfake porn to poke fun at her and her boyfriend's fans. She and many other celebrities have created brands around their name, but having a digital asset of your likeness could help prevent things like this from happening. Imagine if Mr. Beast could license out a digital version of himself to use in promotional material, movies, or cameos. That sure would save a lot of time and energy, and if it's secured or encrypted on something like a blockchain, he could use an AI program to scan the web for any imposters making counterfeit content, or using his face to run scams. YouTube Studio actually already does this with videos uploaded to your channel. It'll search the site for any appearances of your content, in case anybody's re-uploading your video in a different language or straight up stealing it. And this is the basis for NFTs. Now, hear me out. I'm not talking about Bored Apes. I'm talking about a work of art, a song, or, as we just mentioned, a person that is verifiably the original. Social media sites already serve as public records, and while it's difficult in the current day, you can still track down the origins of meme trends and even slang terms. For a more practical use, these ledgers and blockchains could be used to verify the copyright of a digital asset and prove that it was created by a human being. When I edit these videos, I tend to pull a lot of images from Wikimedia Commons because of how many people dedicate their work to the public domain. If in the future people are able to reverse image search their copyrighted material and claim copyright on YouTube videos, I'll at least be safe in the visual department, although I am taking a massive risk by including copyrighted video game music in the background, but whatever. This value that we keep talking about, especially as it pertains to a person behind a YouTube channel, speaks to a larger conversation about the power of an influencer. Influencers are called influencers because of their ability to shift the minds of the population, usually supported by attractive looks, behaviors, lifestyles, or talents. AI influencers have a really steep hill to climb, and even if they eventually become accepted and beloved by the public, it'll probably come from an appreciation for the wider group involved in programming and bringing the robot to life. I liken this to a character from a TV show or a video game who has a very rudimentary personality but is appreciated for their wider role in a project and the effort put into their creation. There is, of course, the novelty of AI and how it may intrigue enough people to give AI influencers and characters a chance, but you'll always know in the back of your mind that it's a bunch of code, hundreds of times less dense than our brain matter. There's also the fact that video games and TV shows allow us to grow with specific characters, seeing their struggles and different emotional states each time we sit down. Growth is such an important part of life, but sadly, it doesn't seem like AI is quite capable of that yet. The movie Free Guy does an awesome job exploring this concept in its raw form, as Guy, despite being an NPC, is able to gain free will and grow within his digital environment. But even the fact that OpenAI has a story to tell about ChatGPT, it makes me excited for whatever comes next, and it makes me appreciate all the hard work that got us where we are now. I actually use AI in every video I make, especially now that I've been diving into really complex topics. I literally just had conversations with Microsoft Copilot, and my knowledge base has skyrocketed. For example, I wanted a short history of Mr. Beast, so I just asked for a short biography, and boom, now I know what I'm talking about. Some of you guys think I'm smart because I know a lot about science, history, philosophy, but no, I'm smart because I'm learning it from YouTube and AI, and you should do it too. Never before has it been this easy to increase your value as a human being, so if the gym isn't really your thing, go watch some old Vsauce videos. Or better yet, put on a podcast while you're working out, or driving, or even cleaning your room. It's how I do it. I've also used AI to find specific manga chapters for my JoJo videos, especially when talking about series installments that haven't been animated. It's a lifesaver, and it's almost always accurate. It's also just great for finding sources in general, articles and papers that wouldn't normally show up on Google but have a ton of information. As far as AI image generation, I've actually used it for a ton of my videos too, both in the video itself and the thumbnail. Off the top of my head, I used Photoshop to extend images in 2 separate thumbnails, as they were taken from comic books that have hard edges that need to be softened and rounded out. I've also created a handful of icons and background images to use in short edits, like a chalkboard or a rainy street, just to set the vibe or avoid copyright infringement. It's safe to say that purely AI-generated thumbnails are a no-go, but they could very easily be used in conjunction with a new feature added by YouTube Studio, the ability to compare your thumbnails with others in your niche. It wouldn't be too difficult for them to add AI-generated thumbnails into the mix, and down the line, it could even tell us exactly what we need to do to stand out among our peers. Creators like the Game Theorists have used this tactic to establish a brand identity, committing to bright green text in a sea of mostly dark, red-tinted gaming videos. And even on this channel, I've used the same tactic. I think AI does a great job of showing us what's already out there, whether it be mathematical or scientific theory, the span of documented human history, or what the average YouTube video looks and sounds like. It's up to us, however, to gather as much of that data as we can, mix in a little of ourselves, and try to discover something new. That's all I got for you guys. Feel free to clip any segments of this video you found interesting, and check out my other videos if you're looking for something to do after this one is over. I did a video about Frutiger Arrow, but I also talked about technology and graphic design trends from the 2000s. It's in a similar vein to this video, so you'd probably like it. You guys are the best. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love. Next time on LukeWilsonTV. I'm not going to tell you what the next video is, but I'll tell you a riddle. It's the JoJo Iceberg Part 3. I'm literally sitting on so many video ideas right now. Seriously, I'm literally sitting on a stack of two boxes full of National Geographics from the 1980s. I'm not lying. Look at this. Look at this. If I ever need a video, I could just... What? We got 1979, 1974. Yeah, we ain't going anywhere. I'm coming for you, Mr. Beast. I'm gonna beat you in subscribers.